How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. The last 2 days in crypto have been absolutely nuts. We've seen the SEC go after Binance and Coinbase. Obviously, this scared the market, especially yesterday. But as you can see today, Bitcoin is actually moving up. We have this big U basically bringing Bitcoin to the same price it was right before it was announced that the SEC was suing Binance, which is, again, just kind of nuts that the market is rebounding this quickly. But I do think it makes sense, and I want to talk to you about why that is, and talk to you about why I'm very heavily weighted and invested into Bitcoin specifically. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification. I'll try to keep it short. We have some news over what happened just today, what Gary Gensler said. So we'll talk about that. Stay through to the end of the video. So we had Gary Gensler go on Squawk Box with Jim Cramer and a couple other hosts this morning, basically giving his opinion on why they were going after these different exchanges. Now, Jim Cramer basically pushed him on the fact that Jim thinks that a lot of cryptocurrencies are worthless, and he asked Gary if he thought that was the same thing, if he thought the same way. Now, Gary was not super impartial. You would think for Gary, he would only be trying to make sure that the consumer or the investor is protected. He doesn't care what they buy as long as they know the proper disclosures, and he would go and try to make sure that every single exchange knows what they have to do. Make sure that they're compliant. Set out good rules to make sure that everyone's protected. However, that's not really what he did. He basically said that we don't need cryptocurrencies because we have digital currencies, right? We have the US dollar, we have the yuan, we have so many different currencies out there. Why would we need something like some of the cryptocurrencies that they're actually suing? Which was interesting. And Jim kept on pressing him, and he basically kept on saying the same thing. He didn't say that they were all worthless, but he said that we didn't need them. This is kind of interesting. Him going after all these securities as well, all these different cryptocurrencies, when just a few years ago he said that 75% of cryptos are not securities. They're commodities. They're used for currency. Really interesting. But Gary seems like he's very partial. He is not just trying to protect investors. He's trying to basically crush crypto, which is something that we've known. And it seems like a coordinated effort. Now, after he spoke, we see Bitcoin's price go up. We went all the way down to about 25,400. Now we're up at 26,800. So why is that happening? Well, about 3 months ago, I made this video on March 17, talking about how Bitcoin is going to destroy other cryptos. And in this thumbnail, I said I'm 80% Bitcoin. Now, to be clear, that's in the cryptocurrency market. I have 80% of my assets in Bitcoin. I have another 15, 16, 17% or so in Ethereum, and then I have about 2 to 3% playing around with other smaller cryptocurrencies. So in this video, I talk about some of those reasons why I think Bitcoin is immutable. It's one of the only cryptocurrencies that can't change on a dime and change some big part of what they do, which is one of the huge benefits to it. It's very scarce. A lot of companies will probably use it on their balance sheet. We know inflation is coming down. We know that the Fed will probably change. We know Bitcoin ordinals are picking up as well. They're basically becoming the new Ethereum. They're like NFTs on Ethereum. Now, I realize that I'm summarizing here. This is not all exactly correct. I'm just trying to summarize some of my main points very quickly. So, of course, Bitcoin ordinals are different than Ethereum, but they're somewhat similar. And then I also think that Bitcoin just holds a lot less risk. There's a lot less regulatory risk specifically, which I laid out in this video as well. And that's exactly why I think Bitcoin's moving up today. It's actually up to almost 27,000 now. Because throughout these lawsuits, we realize the cryptocurrencies that the SEC thinks are securities. 𝗡cie, Polygon, Filecoin, those types of cryptocurrencies. They did not list Bitcoin. They did not list Ethereum. So I think the natural reaction is the market is pushing more into these cryptocurrencies. You can see the Bitcoin dominance going up today. If I move it to the 1 hour, it's a lot easier to see. So the market is pricing in the fact that these are safer cryptocurrencies. The government's not going to do anything to them, right? You can try to hurt the exchanges, but people are still going to get their hands on Bitcoin and Ethereum. The two are the scarcest assets in the world, especially Bitcoin. Ethereum is becoming more scarce because it's actually becoming deflationary. But as they continue to inflate the money supply, people will want to get their hands on these assets, and they will figure out ways around having to use Coinbase or Binance. There's always going to be some way for people to get their hands on an asset. So I think the market's now pricing in the fact that, yes, the SEC was obviously going to go after Coinbase, probably going to go after Binance, but this doesn't affect these two cryptocurrencies. And the funny thing about them going after Coinbase is, first of all, they allowed the IPO to happen years ago, and they also use Coinbase to sell some of their own cryptocurrencies. Here's a video that Coinbase just came out with that I'll play for you. So not only is the market probably pricing in the fact that Bitcoin is separate from all these other cryptocurrencies, but it's also pricing in that this is pretty much a joke against Coinbase. This lawsuit, obviously, it will hurt Coinbase. The stock's down today, but this is not the same as what's happening to Binance. And they were only being sued on two different things, basically being an unregistered broker exchange. So this is not the same thing as commingling funds, as all the stuff that is being accused against Binance. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. I think that Gary Gensler probably should have to be replaced at some point. I think he's obviously anti-crypto, and he's got some kind of agenda against cryptocurrency, and he's not just helping out investors. He's trying to strangle the cryptocurrency industry, which could hurt all of us in the end. And if you want to see how little some CNBC hosts like Jim Cramer understand or know crypto, watch what he just said about Cardanzo and Solano.
Do you think it's existential to the ecosystem?
Absolutely.
You do?
Absolutely. I think that if you are in a series of coins that were mentioned, and we all kind of know them, we're talking about Solano, talking about Cardanzo. These are viewed in the Cardanzo.